let's get right into it.
Okay, we're starting with the breaking news from Texas, where the death toll has really risen now from catastrophic flooding. 82 people are now dead, including 28 children, with 41 still missing as rescue operations continue. Over 400 first responders from more than 20 agencies are searching debris-filled rivers for survivors facing challenges from venomous snakes and saturated ground that makes any additional rainfall potentially very deadly. The big story here is really about whether the National Weather Service gave everyone the right kind of a heads up, the right kind of alerts ahead of time, and whether that has anything to do with the cuts that Elon Musk and company introduced through Doge at the Weather Service, firing many meteorologists. And as you recall on your Substack, and as I do recall as well, there was warnings about how they were cutting back the weekend weather alert staffing. So the meteorologists that were working on the weekends, they were all sort of cut back. And yet, they're saying it has nothing to do with the lack of alerts, but these monstrous floods are certainly indicating that something went wrong if these alerts weren't issued on time.
This is a really, really, really sad story that we have to acknowledge is a really sad story before we start looking for people to charge with certain crimes as to whose fault this was, and we'll get to that in a minute. But just absolute heartfelt prayers to every single human being down at the Mystic River Children's Camp. There's an RV camp right next to it. In Texas, and it was a microburst. 15 inches of rain in a matter of an hour that led to the death of 82 people, over 24 children. And I think the number was like 28, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the most recent number, 28. There are still dozens of people missing. And before we, because politically everybody's going to want to hang this on Donald Trump, and you should, but it's disingenuous, I think, and I've seen so many different arguments and discussions about this where so many people have such a misguided, take on let's blame people first and then let's mourn. No, you mourn first. You help first. You show community first. You go in and don't just send your thoughts and prayers. Donate, which is something I did this morning. And if you're in the area, see if you can help. Offer loved ones some incredible comfort if you can. So there's that part of this. The other part of this is, of course, the cuts to the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, NWS and NOAA. And I'm going to get to some of the cuts because even, Texas representatives, state officials are blaming Doge, Trump, budget cuts, the gutting of these institutions, that it takes thousands of people to predict within the kind of prediction accuracy that they need for any kind of forecast when it comes to really, really terrible weather. So I want to get to a couple of different things here. One is, this was completely needless. If you read the tea leaves and if you listen to Texas state officials effectively point a finger at Donald Trump and the Trump administration for gutting NWS and NOAA, saying that Doge Trump cuts to NWS and OAA prevented accurate rainfall reporting predictions. There was very little communication with NWS and OAA are severely understaffed. And as you point out, 83 dead, 40 still missing, 28 children. And the interesting part is that Trump gutted the Weather Service a month ago, maybe 2 months ago max, as part of these Doge cuts. Let me go through these cuts. 880 NOAA staff were let go to federal freezing hires and workforce optimization mandates on behalf of Doge. And if you remember, they just got a letter saying, get the fuck out. 600 plus National Weather Service jobs were cut. Some of the very region of the flood zone. Kerrville's closest NWS forecast office was in San Antonio. Lost its lead warning coordinator 3 months ago due to those budget cuts. Someone that communicates with individual communities about the danger of inclement weather and forecasting and giving people warning signals. So the people that gave the warnings, they weren't there anymore. Entire forecasting models were defunded or allowed to expire, including AI-enhanced radar composites and river gauge monitors. Those are facts. And if you go to my Substack, you can read all about it. You can actually watch Texas officials blast the National Weather Service, blast these cuts. So if you're looking for anybody to point the finger at after you mourn the loss of these beautiful lives in a freak 100-year accident storm, which should have been predicted according to every single meteorologist that has weighed in on this out of bravery, that every single one of these people should still be alive. They should have got the warning. They should have known to get out of the area, and they did not because of cuts to systems and early warning implementation systems that enabled Americans and the government in Texas and federal government to keep citizens safe. If you remember, I don't know how long ago it was. I can't remember the gentleman's name. Just let me. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, what was his name again?
I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about.
He's a meteorologist in Florida, 34 years on the job. He's like the hurricane meteorologist, the meteorologist in Florida. And when these cuts came in a couple of months ago, he went on TV and he's like, I got to tell you, I'm not going to be able to predict this kind of really dangerous weather anymore because it's just simply not possible due to the cuts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all the tea leaves say you can blame the Trump regime.
I agree with you. And look, this was highlighted as it was happening. As the cuts were happening, people were being told this is going to cost lives. And the fact that this happened on a 4th of July weekend, you can bet that there were staffing shortages at the National Weather Service. And the fact that there just weren't alerts at the right time. I mean, regardless, there's these quotes, these very damning quotes, as you point out, from the local emergency officials that say this is all about not having enough information. And, having worked in American newsrooms for a long time, there's the precision that the weather staff of each of these stations has in terms of forecasts is remarkable. I mean, they can see things down to the millimeter almost, and they can predict things with enormous accuracy. So that is all functions because there's good data that comes into it from the National Weather Service and other places. And the fact that they were not able to give out a warning for something like this is really problematic because it really does indicate how much bigger this could be. If there was a much bigger storm or much bigger catastrophe, even more people would have perished. And it's really, you can really point it to the National Weather Service's cuts here. There's a couple of other things that kind of disturb me about the whole thing. Was firstly Donald Trump's evasion of the issue. Like
24 hours didn't say a fucking word. It's a massive disaster. Yeah,
this is not what presidents do. They don't go and play golf, and they do play golf, of course, and they do eat ice cream, but they don't have to do that right as there is a massive disaster unfolding in Texas because he just doesn't want to be associated with anything bad. But, there's 90 people dead almost in Texas, and you've got the president of the United States basically ignoring it for, you said 24 hours. I think it might have been even 3 days before we actually heard him say something about this disaster. So,
well, and to be fair, he was prompted to answer a question about it. He wasn't proactive, didn't put out a tweet, didn't put anything on True Social for at least 24 hours. And he was asked by a reporter on Air Force One, and to your point, and I don't want to block you here from getting to your other troubling aspects of this where it comes to how Trump has dealt with it or the Trump regime, is that nobody has mentioned it. Nobody has offered, thought. Like Trump on the plane, who was like, I guess some young people died or something. It's kind of what he said. It was like, he was really flippant about it. He's like, yeah, we're going to help him do what we can. Yeah. There was no comfort in chief.
None.
There's no empathy. He's empathyless. It was, it bears the standard. I mean, when Melissa Hartman and her husband were shot down, the Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota, not only did he not offer thoughts and prayers or condolences, he was asked what he thought, and he goes, "Fuck Tim Walz. That's his problem, not mine." So like if you're expecting at any point in time for this gentleman to stop, which great video of like these rescues at the same time going on, Donald Trump walking around eating a chocolate ice cream cone, being followed around by Howard Nutlick at one of his golf courses in New Jersey.
Yeah,
but for anybody to expect anything different from this man. He doesn't care if people in this country die. He doesn't care if people in the United States die. He doesn't care. He does not give a crap about any of those families. He didn't stop to offer condolences. Apparently, he's going there this week, but that'll be, don't touch anything. Just let me stand over here. I don't want to be close to any suffering. I don't want to be close to any carnage. I just want to look like I'm taking care of everybody, which he never ever has, never ever will. He does not care if Americans die, and he doesn't care how. And he's proving it every day, to your point.
And, the FEMA money that should be going to these kind of rescues, and the money that may have gone to these weather services to provide more meteorologists and more accurate funding, is going to fund, concentration camps, because that's where literally the money is going to
Yeah.
from FEMA's budget. So the lack of empathy is there. The lack of response in terms of operationally saying what you're going to do, because you caused a screw up. At least say, we're going to take a look at whether we have sufficient staffing at the National Weather Service. But he doesn't say that because he can't associate with anything like that. And then here he is, pretending July 4th is just a day off like everybody else. As this major event is happening that he basically helped happen.
Well, and let's be serious. The optics here for Donald Trump, like we all know he doesn't give a fuck. Like we know he doesn't care about humanity. He doesn't care about people, doesn't care about human life. He does not give a shit about any of those things. But while, moms and dads are looking for their daughters that didn't come home from camp in Kerrville, Texas, the visuals of him dancing on the 4th of July, the visuals of him golfing, the visuals of him laughing, the visuals of him go to my Substack and look at the video. Walking around eating an ice cream. It's perfect. It's a perfect example of what America chose for their next president, their current president. It's a perfect example of the state of that union at the moment. A president so disconnected, so empathyless, so soulless that, dozens of dead children in his country didn't matter to him to the point where he thought he'd just go get a fucking chocolate ice cream and forget about it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is red state. So this is not some sort of, this is not a blue state catastrophe. This is something happening in Texas. This is the heart of his support base. It's kind of stunning that he's not responding in the way he should. But there's another sort of side angle to this, which I find, I don't know if you've seen this, about Peter Thiel's Weather Boy. Have you seen this angle?
No.
So, amongst all these other things in the story, there's
Peter Thiel's Weather Boy sounds kinky, though.
I know. I was like, maybe I should think about me. Well, here's the other thing. He's the CEO of a company called Rainmaker Technology. And Augustus Dorico is his name, or Dorico. I don't know. He's 24 years old. He's basically, a product of his fellowship, of Peter Thiel's fellowship program, which basically meant you didn't go to school, you ditched university. He gave you money to start your own startup, and this guy started Rainmaker. Rainmaker seeds clouds to make rain, and there's many of these initiatives, but this one in particular is tied to Peter Thiel, and it happened to be flying just a day or two before the catastrophe in Texas, over the very area that this catastrophe took place. So,
where are you getting this story?
It's a real story.
I know I'm not doubting it. It's just like, like, I feel like we're veering into chemtrail territory over this story.
I look, it's a legit story. It really exists. Rainmaker does exist. It flew a cloud seeding flight into this very area on, I think it was the 3rd or 2nd of July. And I mean, it's one flight. Most people are saying, is that really going to create that much change in rain? But who knows what this guy's got on board that flight. And this is a registered company that is allowed to do these cloud seeding things. But, did it cause massive flooding? I don't know if it caused massive flooding, but it is coincidental that there's this guy who's tied to Peter Thiel who's out there, manipulating the weather just the day before these massive floods take place. So, with Elon Musk's cuts at Doge and Peter Thiel's Rainmaker, Weather Boy, anything is possible, and I'm not saying it is.
Much. It's too much for me. It's
just jump the shark.
Yeah,
reality.
I just looked it up. I'm just going to bring this in here. Did cloud seeding cause Texas floods? Trump loyalist makes massive allegation amid a Camp Mystic tragedy. It's from the Hindustan Times.
Yeah.
So I'm going to back off that one. I'll let you run with it, but I can truthfully tell you that nothing would surprise me. So I'm just.
Nothing would surprise me. I mean, I actually heard about Rainmaker before the floods, so this is why I don't find it so disturbing. But had I heard about it after the floods, I would have thought this was really a conspiracy. But I'd heard about the company prior to that. So anyhow, let's call it the number 5 story, because
I like it. I like it. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some real heartfelt stuff. It's got some tragedy. It's got some budget cuts, and it also has a conspiracy story at the end. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's not a conspiracy. We're not saying anything was tied to it. We're just saying it's possible that this is, these things are interesting that they happen coincidentally. I mean, it is interesting that they're seeding clouds in America. I didn't even know they were doing that kind of thing. I knew I knew they did it in China. I knew they did it in
Oh,
other
yeah.
countries. But why do they? Why would
Do it in
is
Abu
it
Dhabi all the time. They do it
how?
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But how much is of this is happening, and does it? Do we have enough knowledge about whether this really impacts real weather conditions, or whether it just like accidentally happened that
Well,
this happened?
like, and I'm kind of coming into,
Yeah,
the thinking behind, this take on what some people like Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks this is real. She's
yeah,
like, so like, listen, anytime, and it's just a quick little thing before we move
yeah.
on to story number 4. Anytime you hear a story like this, consult Marjorie Taylor Greene. If she agrees with you, run as far fucking away from it as you possibly can.
All right, all right. I'm not running yet because this is a real story, but it's
Okay.
there. Number 4 on the countdown today. Benjamin Netanyahu is visiting the White House. He arrives at the White House today for a high stakes meeting with Donald Trump as the Middle East teeters on the edge of a broader regional conflict. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. The summit comes just one day before what some sources suggest could be a major escalation in the ongoing war. You know what? I am actually reading this for the first time, and I'm not sure I agree with all that. Uh-oh.
You need to put down the Weather Boy stories and pick up the Israel
Man,
stories.
yes, I'm sorry about that. Anyhow, so Donald Trump's coming to the White House. They're predicting all sorts of impossible things might happen, like an actual deal with for the ceasefire in Gaza with Hamas, maybe the release of all these hostages. I don't see it happening, but maybe there will be. What's your take on what's going to happen today? It is a bit of a high stakes meeting.
Yeah. I don't know how high stakes it is. I don't know how authentic this meeting with Netanyahu is. I'm going to veer into some very unpopular territory, which some people are going to call me anti-Semitic for, which is absolutely untrue. Before we get there,
Yeah.
Bibi Netanyahu to the Israeli people is what Donald Trump is to the American people. He beat Donald Trump to this kind of authoritarian takeover of a country by years. These are two of the worst world leaders in the world. These are two people that truly need each other, that need the stage of the Oval Office, that need the stage of Congress, that need the stage of the American media ecosystem to be able to continually try to convince everybody that Israel and anything you say against Bibi Netanyahu means you're anti-Semitic, right? So this is part of the ploy, and part of it is to show everybody that Israel and the United States are 1 and 1A, which isn't necessarily true. Netanyahu and Trump are 1 and 1A. They're in the thick of it together because they are both being chased by the judiciary in their own countries. They are both wildly unpopular. They are both hurting their own people, despite what you are seeing. I mean, Netanyahu's hurting everybody else in Gaza, but he's also hurting his own people. These are people that have consolidated power through extremism. These are people and leaders that are both authoritarian, that have changed the Constitution and want to change the Constitution. If I remember correctly, massive protests in Israel prior to October 7th, where Netanyahu was taking over the Supreme Court because he was being chased. His wife got charged with fraud and charged and convicted with fraud. And there was a criminal trial that was supposed to go on in and around Netanyahu for the exact same thing. Fraud, self-dealing, bribery,
Still going
all
on,
that
yeah.
other shit. Still going on.
Yeah.
And they paused it because Donald Trump told them he'd stop sending weapons to be able to defend themselves. And that was through Netanyahu. That was something they cooked up. So what to expect if this is high stakes? I don't think any of this is high stakes. I think all of it is made up. I think the theater that we're going to see between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be this giant authoritarian mutual blowjob with a couple of really earth-shaking pieces of news, like we're going to get the hostages back.
Mhm.
There's going to be a ceasefire. But they will do none of those things.
Yeah.
This is Donald Trump and Netanyahu 101. And if you don't know anything about them, you should read about both of these guys. They are both strong men. They are both con men. And if it weren't for each other, neither would be there. That is a fact.
That is a fact. In fact, I reported on this many, many years ago when I first broke the story about how involved Netanyahu was and how involved Psy Group was with the election of Donald Trump back in 2016. It's one of the most underappreciated part of the Senate Intelligence Report, was all about how the Israelis were really behind the scenes manipulating sentiment and a whole bunch of other things related to this, sentiment group. Let's call them a Mossad front,
Is it
whatever you want to.
Pegasus? Is that the name of it?
Psy group,
Side group.
PSY.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Side group.
This is clearly came out of the Israeli Defense Force. Clearly, Israeli Defense Force was involved in many aspects of manipulating those elections. So Donald Trump was created in some way as the president by Bibi Netanyahu. In fact, what happened preceding that meeting, preceding that election, was a summit in the Red Sea, aboard a yacht in the Red Sea, where Bibi Netanyahu and the various Arab leaders decided that they were going to reorganize the balance of power in the Middle East. So it would tilt more towards them and to Russia and less towards the United States. But they were going to reorganize in such a way that Saudi Arabia would become an ally of Israel, and so would the UAE. Qatar was a question. They wouldn't know which side of that would land up being, the winner in that. And we've sort of seen this play out over the years as all these leaders. Bibi Netanyahu was represented by, who's that pedophile agent that he had related to, he went to jail. Not Nader. It's not Nader. It's that'll come to me. But the summit happened, and they said, well, what's the problem with achieving this goal? Is we don't have an American president who's going to be on side with us. We know Hillary Clinton is not going to agree with our reorganization of the Middle East. So we need to elect a president that's going to be the president who's going to support our efforts here. And the person they came up with was Donald Trump. And that's why we saw Saudi Arabia and Israel and the UAE and Russia all line up behind Donald Trump. And that's why Donald Trump became the president in 2016, I believe. Do
you think this would have happened if he had won the second time? You think we'd already be in the situation where the Middle East was, 5 years ahead of where we are now?
I think it's all pretty planned out for him to have done exactly what he's done. I think that the first term ended the way it should have for them, and the second term was meant to be another. It's it's similar to what happened in other sort of parts of the world where we've had this kind of authoritarian takeover. We've seen the same sort of patterns. So the fact that we're seeing it here is no surprise. The fact that people are always trying to find is Putin and Trump broken up? Is Bibi and Trump broken up? They're not going to break up. This is a coordinated, unified, mob linked effort to take over, and maybe deep state linked is probably the better way to describe it. Way to take over America and to change the balance of power in the world and in democracy.
Interesting. I love your take, and you know what? It's funny because I did a podcast, a little Monday roundup with Lev, who kind of echoed the same thing, and effectively kind of and laid it out like this: is that Donald Trump has a pit bull attack dog named Netanyahu. Putin has a pit bull attack dog named the Khomeini, or Iran, Iran, and so these two guys are using these two countries like they're fixers, like they're stages, like they are, and they're curating these narratives around what they're trying to accomplish while hiding their true intention, to your point. And you can see the intention now. You can see the geopolitical intentions. You can see the land grab tensions, rare earth material tensions. So you can see all of those intentions. You can see all of those things now. And so I can absolutely buy it to the point where I think you're 100% correct. I think that, you've had so much going on in the Middle East and those relationships of these parties and countries that are warring. Around them, there are different interests, and those different interests are making all the players play. And those players that are playing are losing real lives, right? They're dying, real bombs, real war, all of those things. While Donald Trump holds the leash of Netanyahu and Putin holds the leash of Iran. So, it's in and around that. I mean, I'd pay to be on some of these conversations with Putin and Trump, and I have a feeling they're talking every fucking day at this point.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing I also reported on a few years ago was that Bibi's hotline to Putin was installed in his home office, not in his work office, not anywhere else, but at home, with encryption that was only available to the Israelis and the Russians. The Americans were not listening on any of those conversations. And it was all happened around 2015. They're suddenly having these tete-a-tetes, late at night on these private secure phones between the Russian leader and the Israeli leader. And, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump was a party to many of those conversations, because this is an alliance aimed at destroying democracy. This is the goal of what they are trying to achieve. And they're trying to achieve this other sort of reorientation of the Middle East. Maybe in Bibi's head, if this all works out, it will all be worth it. And some Israelis believe that. Some believe if they can actually clean up Gaza and they can get Iran off the nuclear thing, and then maybe the world will be a better place all along. But the fact that they've done it in such an immoral, unethical, and inhumane way tells you exactly why this is such a bad idea, and that the repercussions, I think, are going to last for generations.
Oh, yeah. And think about it. This is like, you just isolate Netanyahu and Trump. They're both criminals trying to stay out of fucking jail.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're doing all of this in large part so they don't go to jail. Donald Trump admits it. He admits it.
And Bibi's been like has had American presidents on his leash for many, many years. It's been sort of his toy thing ever since he got into the United Nations, ever since he had a big presence in America. You may be surprised to find out, I wasn't when I discovered this, but his thing at MIT, the thing that Bibi Netanyahu did at MIT was a invention or sort of an algorithm to figure out how to manipulate American media. He is very well versed in how America operates. He understands the media environment. He understands the presidential politics. He had a very close connection with Donald Trump's father. They used to be friends back in the day. And then, of course, there's the Roy Cohn connection. There's a lot going on between these two guys, and certainly Bibi and American presidents, that has been very troubling over the years. I think it was Obama that sort of stopped that. Obama was the first president who was like, hey, listen, I'm actually going to be my own independent guy. And he almost lost his second term because Bibi supported Romney. It didn't quite come to pass, but that's the reason why Bibi was so opposed to Hillary Clinton in the first.
Yeah, I wonder if America really knows how much Netanyahu has fucked around with their electorate. I wonder if they. I don't think people do. I don't think people understand that. Like, all we talk about is Russian disinformation, Russian interference, MAGA interference, Chinese disinformation, Chinese interference.
It's not for nothing that I actually think, when I think of the Kremlin, I actually think of Israeli intelligence and Russian intelligence as a unit. They basically operate the Kremlin. It's not like they're that far apart from each other. They often run missions together. A lot of people in Israel come from Russia. 20% of the population, I think, is now Russian. There's a huge connection between Russia and Israel. There are lots of Jews who left Russia back in the day, the Soviet Union in the day, and that's where they landed up. My family was one of them. So I know the history is pretty deep there. And it's, Americans think Israel belongs to them and that's sort of their ally in the Middle East, but it's not entirely true. They have huge alliances with China, huge alliances with Russia too, and they're doing what's best for their national interest. But oftentimes that means really manipulating American politics and really screwing around with American politics, which they've done time and time again, I think, since Ronald Reagan and then some. Do you want to hear the conspiracy theory on this one?
Yeah, please. I love these.
I was like, what? Really? This just happened? So just as Trump meets Netanyahu, there are explosive details emerging around the Trump organization's pursuit of a luxury Tel Aviv hotel project in an active war zone. The Sarona hotel development, which Eric Trump said had the feel of a Trump property, represents the family's renewed push into Israeli real estate after suspending talks after October the 7th. So the jaw-dropping part of this is that the planned hotel location was actually hit by rockets from Iran, and it's in the military zone of Israel. So, interestingly enough, that is one of the targets that landed up being hit. Eric Trump told executives in April he wants to finalize at least one Israeli deal by the year end. The Trump family is literally trying to slap their name on buildings in conflict zones everywhere. But this one's particularly interesting and hasn't received much attention. I hadn't heard about it. Obviously, I've heard about the Damascus one. I'd heard about the other one in Ho Chi Minh City, but Tel Aviv as well. So
interesting, isn't it? I mean,
so
the Dubai hotel development, Qatar, UAE, some hotels there you can buy with crypto, which you can't trace. That he does a deal with Vietnam where he bends them over for 25%.
Yeah.
And he says, we got to deal with him. It's not, he just tariffed the country 25%. In return, he gets a nice piece of land and gets a green-lit Trump hotel in Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Let's move on to Damascus, Syria. He lifts sanctions on Syria within 4 hours of lifting sanctions. Eric Trump's like, we're going to Damascus. It's
Yeah.
like, it's truly, this is an extortion racket.
It is.
That's all it is. It's an
a
extortion
bribery
racket
scheme.
for fucking hotels,
Yeah.
casinos, any way they can wash money internationally, become that center of criminality and the hub of money washing and the hub of bullshit around the world. That is exactly what's going on. So, yes, that's not a conspiracy. That's a true story.
It's a true story. It's a pattern, too. I mean, the thing is, you can't ignore these patterns because they're so obvious. I mean, you'd have to be like dead not to really appreciate the fact that this is happening.
Well, these are fucking real news stories. Like these hotels and getting greenlit in Vietnam and Damascus and Turkey and all these other countries where he's like, okay, I'm going to, as a protection rack, I'm going to just give me a couple hotels. Give me some land. Give me some land.
Connect that to what you were just saying about Iran being, Putin's proxy and Bibi being Trump's proxy the other way around. I mean, so they all agree, let's get into a war together. One of those rockets happens to hit the site that they want to build a hotel on. I mean, it's I don't know, it's suspicious because then remember the war ended just as quickly when you realized it was bombing in terms of popularity.
It was the day they bombed that site. That's when Trump put up. He's like, everybody turn the planes around. Turn the planes around.
This thing is a disaster. We're tanking in the ratings. Cancel that war. That's basically what they're doing.
So messed up.
It's so messed up. But I think that's the world today.
Yeah.
Eric Trump, by the way, says Israel has always been a market we would love to explore, but we have no plans at this time, and any discussions have been strictly preliminary. Okay.
It's all lies.
They've got an actual location and everything.
Yeah.
All right. So story number, where were we? Are we I think we're going to number 2. And I'm going to have it here in a second for you. And where is it? So Trump escalates the tariff war against Japan, against South Korea. He's done an incredible amount of letter writing because he's realized the 90 deals in 90 days hasn't quite achieved anything, as we predicted here. I think 90 days ago we said there won't be deals. There won't be deals.
Not quite anything. Nothing. It has achieved nothing. He has no deals with anybody. The UK deal is not a deal. It's you get to sell some Land Rovers. We get access to your avionics. Not a deal. The Vietnam deal, not a deal. It's just a 25% tariff on everything out of Vietnam. And poor Vietnam's like, okay. Okay.
What are we going to do? Give them a tower.
And by the way, the deal with the UK, they have a surplus, a trade surplus with the UK. So that was a lie. Just to kind of, do you mind if I jump in? Is that okay?
I don't mind. If you want to talk about the actual letters that were sent, I think that's terrific. Yeah, because that's exactly what I wanted to hit. So go for it.
Because Trump has no deals in 90 days, which is up like in 2 days or something like that. Like no deals in 90 days. He is now trotting out Howard Nutlick and himself, and he's taking him around like his little ferret boy. He's like his little pool boy. And he's trying to tell everybody that, we've got deals coming. We got lots of deals. You just don't even know what's going on. So many deals. 90 deals in 90 days. People are knocking my door down.
Yeah, my inbox
Nobody's
is
knocking his nobody. Nobody. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the entire world is on him now. And every world leader, like Mark Carney, Japan, I think his name's Ishiba Shigeru. He's the prime minister of Japan. Everybody's onto him. Everybody's like, just fucking wait it out. Everybody, just let America go broke. So what he did today was he sent South Korea a letter, and he's apparently going to send 100 letters, and just magically everybody's going to agree to sign these letters. There's no place to sign on these letters. These are just performative letters that he's like sending out to people. I'm going to read this to you. This is the one that he sent Japan today. On official White House letterhead, His Excellency Ishiba Shigeru, Prime Minister of Japan. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, he starts. I want you, keep in mind this is the president. I know, I wish you did too.
Next time.
President of the United States. Yeah. It is a great honor for me to send you this letter that demonstrates the strength and commitment of our trading relationship and the fact that the United States of America has agreed to continue working with Japan. Oh, that's nice of him, right? Despite having a significant trade deficit with your great country, nevertheless, we've decided to move forward with you. Oh, that's nice of him, right? It's not a trade deficit. You buy more from them than they buy from you.
Yes.
You guys have a pig economy and the United States are consumer crazy. That's what these trade deficits are. I said, you're such greedy fucks sometimes that you're just, you buy so much, you consume so much, and everybody will just settle to you because we know you'll buy it. That's Japan.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we've decided to move forward with you, but only with more balanced and fair trade. Therefore, we invite you to participate in the extraordinary economy of the United States. It's an invite to do business in the States. The number one market in the world, by far.
Boy.
We have had years to discuss our trading relationship with Japan. He signed one in his last presidency, by the way. He just doesn't like it anymore, I guess. And we've concluded that we must move away from those long-term and very persistent trade deficits engendered by Japan's tariff and non-tariff policies. You don't get dinged with non-tariff policies, by the way. And trade barriers. There are none. Our relationship has been, unfortunately, far from reciprocal. Starting August 1st, 2025, we will charge Japan a tariff of only 25%. Is this starting to sound like a fucking slap chop commercial to you?
It sounds like it's like a I don't know, a back alley shakedown is what it is. It's like
it's exactly
so
what it is. But it's like
so
a slap
weird.
chop infomercial at the same time. Then he's like, only 25% off any and all Japanese products sent to the United States. Only 25%. That's all you got to pay.
If you sign today, I bet you can get 2 for 1 on that deal. I bet you.
Probably. Separate from all sectoral tariffs. Goods transshipped to evade higher tariffs will be subject to a higher tariff. So he's like, if you ship this through other countries that we don't have deals with, then we're just going to hit you with more tariffs. This is like insanity. This is economic and trade relations insanity.
How do you figure that out?
You'll never see an economist go, hey, this is a great letter. You'll just see the economist go, what fucking drunk just wrote this? I'm not done. Goods transshipped evade higher, more tariffs. Please understand that the 25% number is far less than what is needed to eliminate the trade deficit disparity we have with your country. As you are aware, there will be no tariff if Japan or companies, and here's the shakedown again, or companies within your country decide to build and manufacture products within the United States. In fact, we will do everything possible to get approvals quickly, professionally, and routinely. In other words, a matter of weeks. Hey, move all your shit over here. We'll get away with the tariffs. And we'll do away with all the bureaucracy. We just want your fucking money. So get over here. We're gonna peg you with a 25% tariff, meaning we're gonna pass that tax along to the American people. This is like fake tough guy 101. This is such hilarity. I can't, and it's so poorly written, and he sounds like such a dumb fuck that it's awesome. I'm not done.
Yeah.
If for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added on to the 25% that we charge. Please understand that these tariffs are necessary to correct the many years of Japan's tariff, non-tariff policies, and trade barriers, causing unsustainable trade deficits against the United States. This deficit a major threat to our economy, and indeed, you have to put this in there, national security. That is the letter he sent the Prime Minister of Japan.
How embarrassing.
The Japanese government and the Prime Minister's office apparently died laughing when they read this.
It's hilarious.
They are the number one investor by country in the United States. They are the number one debt holder, T-bills of the American dollar, 1.8 trillion. They own that much debt. If they decided to sell any of it, the American dollar would tank and the United States would go into a severe depression. And that conversation is happening right now. I just want to let everybody know.
I mean, it's almost like Donald Trump wants to tank the American economy and the U.S. dollar. I mean, that's what it almost is like that.
I mean, he's single-handedly going after his biggest debtor on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, why not choose maybe an adversary to charge some of our tariffs to? Why are we lumping all these on South Korea and Japan? You know, has Russia received a similar letter? Did Vladimir Putin get a letter saying, "Hey, you got 25% on your"? No, I don't think they did. So you know, this is a continuing path that he's following. The BRICS countries, by the way, issued the statement yesterday, and I know the BRICS countries are an anti-American sort of power thing, and you know, even I can't believe I'm agreeing with them on something because I don't necessarily support the whole notion, but they issued a memorandum saying that they really oppose this indiscriminate tariffs, which of course they should and would, because it's nonsensical economic policy. It's throwing the world into chaos. And is also criticized the involvement in Iran. It's pretty unusual that the BRICS countries are being sort of heavy-handedly opposed to America in the way that they're doing right now. We're expecting it to be out there, like it's expected that this is where they're going to land up. But as the dollar declines and China China's renminbi increases its availability to people as a stable currency around the world. We're witnessing Donald Trump destroy the American economy. This is another attempt to destroy the American economy. And I don't believe this deadline. I think it's meaningless. I think this is going to keep going on and going on. But we've already lost 10% of the US dollar value this year. That is a significant drop. Hasn't been as bad in 50 years.
The Dow lost 530 points as of right now. S&P's down 62. NASDAQ down 216, 217 points. Expect a major announcement this week at some point in time after the pump and dump as well, right? I mean, this is market manipulation on top of autocratic ridiculousness, total bullshit. Strangely, South Korea and Japan, two of the most peaceful nations in the world, two of America's greatest allies, they got tariffed, threatened, extorted. That's an extortion letter from America's rapist in chief, by the way. North Korea managed to evade any tariffs. Russia, Iran, Belarus, all those axes. China, they managed to evade all those tariffs as well. It is so obvious. It is so obvious what team this fuck plays for.
And the danger he's playing, the world he's facing because of it is just, we're facing the biggest shift in the balance of power and in the way the world operates in, 80 years. The top story on the show today is all about Elon Musk's America Party. The world's richest man just launched a political nuclear weapon aimed directly at the man he helped elect. And it's absolutely spectacular, says Dean Blundell. Elon Musk officially launched the America Party this weekend, not just an insurgency designed to destroy MAGA and cripple Democrats simultaneously. That's what he says he'll do. After Trump's $5 trillion spending bill cost Musk his EV subsidies and his SpaceX contract, Elon went fully scorched earth. And you know the story because it comes from deanblundell.substack.com. Tell us about the American Party. America Party.
It's awesome. It's hilarious. It is a natalist pipe dream. It is MAGA wrapped in libertarian social movement bullshit. It's about fertility. It's about AI. It's about nothing other than what Donald Trump is, because he is doing the exact same thing. And all he's trying to do is destroy Donald Trump, provide a distraction, maybe destroy the Democrats. And let's just talk about what this party's all about. I'll read you part of their platform. It's very funny. And then we'll talk a little bit about whether or not, this is a legitimate political movement. So the platform itself is really, really fucking funny because he doesn't really have one. He just kind of retweeted someone else's platform and said, yeah, that's our platform.
I mean, it's one way to do things. He stole them every other idea he's ever had.
Correct, yeah. So Elon Musk and John Amici, a psychologist, former basketball player, he does a great job of breaking him down. He's a cuckoo. So what he does is he goes into these things, these organizations, these companies, and he embeds himself there with money, and then he pushes himself around and kicks everybody out of the fucking nest like a cuckoo bird, right? That's what cuckoo birds did. Donald Trump tried to do the same thing with Musk tried to do the same thing with Trump's MAGA, the Republican Party. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. He wasn't getting enough. The billionaire temper tantrum baby who got everything from the government, billions in subsidies, a spot in the White House parking lot, got to sleep in the fucking Lincoln, got a free ride at Mar-a-Lago, all that other stuff. And say what you want about how terrible he is and what he did to put Donald Trump in the White House, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for him. And so Trump cancels the EV credits with the big, beautiful bill. Then he charges Elon tens of millions for launch fees for SpaceX. He wasn't getting charged for those, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's in the big, beautiful bill. By the way, it's per pound, $10 million per launch. It's like fucking crazy. So Elon went scorched earth. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, he outlines that Donald Trump's name is all over the Epstein pedophile list, his client list. Donald Trump's all over it, and it will come to bear fruit. He's effectively saying, remember this tweet, totally the truth. How he then backs off, and then, Trump passes the bill. threatens to start or tries to pass a bill, threatens to start a new party to divide MAGA and pull all the libertarian incels that support MAGA away so that he can carve up a couple of seats and hold the balance of power in the House, in the Senate. And everybody's like, yeah, he'll never do that. Well, he did it. He started this America Party as an answer to being butthurt over Donald Trump removing his ability to keep Tesla from being insolvent with those EV tax credits. What is the America Party? Great question. It's hilarious. It
Oh dear.
it's very, very, it's very funny. It's very funny. What is it?
Yeah.
So
policies here.
Yeah, the policies are not really policies. It's centrist for all. That was number one.
Okay. It's a good idea. I support it. Hey, it's a good idea.
I start laughing every time I read about this guy's stupid fucking party. Centrist. It's really important to him. Centrist for all. Whatever that means, we're not really too sure. Right?
Yeah.
Reduce debt, responsible spending only. Not overly specific. Modernize the military with robots.
I don't know if you hear Boomer barking in the background, growling, but he doesn't like the American Party.
He hates it.
Yeah. So
accelerate to win with AI.
Okay.
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 Less regulation across the board. He's really thought this one through.
We've heard that one.
Regulation across the board. Free speech. Just getting free speech is important.
Oh, please.
Centrist everywhere else. He's not a free speech absolutist. Yeah. Centrist everywhere else. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And the last one is pro-natalist.
And this is his, what's pro-natalist again? This is his theory that the world is going to run out of babies or something.
Run out of white babies. And so it's his job to make for as many smart techno super studs to make as many smart white babies as humanly fucking possible. So if you want to have as many kids as Elon, maybe more, he's got 14 with 6 or 7 different baby mamas. They all live at Space
14?
City.
I thought it was just 13. I thought, okay, 14.
Oh, no, 14. Ashley St. Clair, remember? She's trying to chasing him around. So if this is crazy town.
Yeah, this is nutsville.
This is like, and he's also the most hated man in the world outside of Donald Trump in the world. So I'll be interested to see how kind of success that he has. However, if he finds a way to release the Epstein stuff, I'm on board.
Can I play devil's advocate to that one?
Yeah.
So I will believe that Elon Musk personally is out with Donald Trump. Maybe that's possible, but I don't think that any of this matters because I think Elon Musk is still connected to Vladimir Putin because Putin has 2 big assets that he's playing with here. One is Elon Musk, the other one is Donald Trump. And at the end of the day, unless we see something magical happen where Trump suddenly reinstates all the weapons to Ukraine and really puts up a good effort to stop Putin from winning this war, which he's not doing at all. I think this is all theater. I think we're just seeing they're all witnessing the decline of the MAGA policies. They're seeing Donald Trump's favorability rate
might explain the cartoonish platform.
Yeah. And so they're saying, well, we need something else to take some of those supporters that are out of favor with Donald Trump, and maybe they need a new home. We don't want them going to the Democrats. Let's create a America Party or whatever it is that for those people who are disenchanted with Donald Trump or still part of the Republican Party world, that can be split off into the America Party. But when it comes down to it, those 2 parties will operate together in an election anyhow, and they'll just elect whoever's next in 2028. So I feel like this is theater again. I think they're very good at this. I think they do a very good job of stringing people along.
Yeah.
They both have the same goal. They both need the crypto money. They both have this crypto cash out that they're waiting at the end of it all. So I think it's performative, to use your word that you love, but I also think there's I'm beginning to be very cynical of how much they think they can keep doing this. Like it's a bit of a, whatever it's covering
this
up.
is just another, this is like of the magnitude of a fake assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Right. And this is of the magnitude. Yeah. What can we do next? What can and listen, I know that there is concern. I am under the impression from some people that I talked to today, one being Lev Parnas, who speaks to people that are involved, that it is not a work, that Donald Trump is deathly afraid of Elon Musk, that he's deathly afraid of his money. And that's why he's been going easy. If you see Donald Trump, he put out a couple of Truth
Yeah.
Social tweets, basically said he's a train wreck, but he held back quite a bit. He's
Yeah.
held back quite a bit, according to the people that he's gone over in the past, right? He's held back because he's still hopeful that Elon Musk will come back into the fold. But Trump fucked with Elon Musk's money and his
Yeah.
power and his influence. And Trump fucked with Elon Musk's straight path to doing whatever he wants, anytime he wants, by taking EV tax credits away and taxing all of his SpaceX launches and all this stuff. And Trump lies when he said he told Musk he was going to do it. He didn't. And Musk is actually really pissed. And of all the people that would know anything about the Epstein list that would use that to their advantage, it's Elon Musk. Like, don't listen, as clownish and cartoony as this America Party thing is, the platform is, his intentions, as he's memeing his way through launching a party in a very unserious way. This man can do some, and has done, and he showed you very serious damage with his money. And that's why Donald Trump exists today in the White House, is that Elon Musk did it. So when you're picking a fighter in this battle, pick your fighter.
Yeah.
You need to kind of hope both teams lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cannot, in no way, shape, there isn't a universe where I'm like, yeah, Elon's changed.
No,
He hasn't changed. He's throwing a fucking temper tantrum. And you can't trust him because he's worse than Donald Trump in some capacities. And the excuse that he gives you about America's debt load is bullshit. The excuse he gives you about the debt ceiling, the excuse he gives you about freedom of speech or debt servitude or debt slavery and how he's fighting for you, that is such a lie. Yeah. He's not doing any of those things. Behind that veneer of excuses, of this populist rhetoric that he's going to save America, and he's going to do away with the two-party system, and he's going to destroy both parties, and he's going to tell the truth, and he's going to, behind all that is like, Tesla's going to go tits up if he doesn't get those EV credits. That's a fact. So keep that in mind anytime. Yeah,
crypto's worth
crypto.
$1 billion on the Tesla balance sheet right now. So I think what happens is Putin basically bought Musk for the election process. There has been maybe a significant breakup between Musk and Trump after that incredibly bad appearance at the White House where the guy shows up completely high. But
so awesome.
So I think it's amazing. I mean, it's
like cooked out of his mind on ketamine with a black eye,
staring around the room. So Putin probably, Elon Musk, the dad, was sent to Moscow quickly to negotiate some sort of solution to all of this. I think Putin basically said, I've got to choose between Trump and Musk. I'm going to choose Trump. Obviously, he's the president of the United States. Of course, I'm going to go there. And I think Musk is on the outs, but he's not completely on the outs. I think this is a little bit of theater concocted by the people in the Kremlin in order to use the war to their advantage. Basically, their battle between Trump and Musk to their advantage. That's my take on it.
I like that take too. Hey, listen, there's all kinds of nuanced alternative explanations, but what you see and what you hear from Donald Trump, what you see and what you hear from Elon Musk, what you see and what you hear from anybody that has supported this regime, Putin, is guaranteed to be a lie. So just always remember that. Hi, Boomer. He agrees.
Boomer really wants to go out for a walk. He's really wants to go. So we should do that. I'm going to go do that. Dean Blundell from deanblundell.substack.com. Thank you very much for being again here today. It's always nice to see you. Tell us, do you have a sale on right now? Or are you done with your sale?
Last day. It's the last day of 50% off annual memberships for life. Remember, I said I was going to take it to the 7th. I did it a whole Canada week, July 1 through 7.
You are so good.
I'm a nice guy.
You're a nice guy.
But I want people to come with me on this journey. I'm having some fun. I'm really starting to find my sea legs on Substack. We just started a Monday roundup with Lev Parnas. That'll be an exclusive to Substack as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I should check it out.
You pop in with us. We're going to roll some people through there from his universe. I know Malcolm Nance, trying to get him on. Michael Cohen's going to pop on. Nice. We'll start doing some Q&A.
What time are you doing that?
1 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Good.
1 o'clock on Monday. No, dude, I wouldn't encroach on our time. I'm a big Zev guy.
But I'm just thinking, like, if it's 1 o'clock, it's Dean and Lev, and it's 2 o'clock, it's Olga and Zev. Maybe 3, it's us two. Maybe there's like a whole
block of programming.
So, yeah,
you're gonna have to do all that work because I am not interested in it. That's the truth. Well, you can say we're starting something big and we're gonna block. Sure, you're gonna have to take it all and do it though, because I have zero time or interest in that.
But it's necessary.
I did it once. Not interested in doing it.
I know. Taking 4 hours too much.
Yeah, dude. for sure. But 70. So you get 50% off annual
Yeah.
subscriptions, and how it works is unlimited access for half the price of an annual membership, but you get access to that deal forever. So if you're going to hang around with me for 5 years, you never pay more than that. Obviously, subscription prices have gone up a little bit. We've tried to keep them down. We're getting pressured to move them in the other direction. So I'm trying to keep this as accessible for everybody, because I don't think it's ever been more important for us to have these conversations and talk about the real, and talk about intentions, and talk about aspects that never get brought into the light of day. Like, one of the things that shocked me is how mainstream media hasn't bothered to even cover the fact that Trump lifts sanctions on Russian banks.
Yeah.
And it's something we've been banging away at. You have, Lev has, all kinds of people have, to try to point to what's next, and you're being let down by mainstream media. So find people here that you trust, that you can fact check afterwards and go, fuck, they were telling me the truth. It's never been easier to do it. You have to move away from mainstream media, and you got to, partner with people and brands that you can trust and fact check. So, like Zev, like my man Zev at narrative.org.
Yeah.
Go and get one of your subscriptions right now. Right now.
And
Go
I've
do it.
got a big feature today about the police state. I know you've covered a lot of this stuff, but I went back and looked at all the details about the 17,000 people that they're going to be implementing in this force. That is going to be a police state, basically operating across the country. That is the new ICE. It's pretty daunting what they're building, and we're looking forward to giving you more reporting on that and exposing what they're doing on narrative.org. That is the show for today. We shall see you again tomorrow on the FiveStack. Have a great day, everybody.